well. So I'm very happy to be here. So let me just start out with a little short story. So a couple of years ago, I was a planner for the Office of Emergency Management about 6 or 7 years ago. And at that point, CERT was really just reforming at that point. So fast forward a couple of years, I became the corporate emergency manager at Prince George's Hospital Center. And who did I happen to meet there but a Mr. Paul Bowling. I don't know if Paul is attending this meeting. Oh, I see Paul right there. Hi, Paul. I don't know if he can hear me.
Okay.
And he kept raving on and on about Arundel Annapolis CERT, how great it was, how they have brought it back from where it was reforming in 2014, 2015, and all the great work they're doing. And so right now, as the deputy director and now the director of the Office of Emergency Management, I have seen that firsthand. So I'd like to thank all of you for really reforming CERT to the wonderful organization that it is now. And I know in the past we have relied on CERT for our usual disaster services, whether that's call takers during a winter storm, for our expo, for volunteering for National Night Out. And you guys are a model of the whole community. And right now with COVID-19, that's what we're emphasizing here in the Office of Emergency Management. We have really depended on the volunteers and the community to help us out. As you know, this has been a huge response in recovery, and we could not have done it without you. And I know the importance of the whole community approach, and that's why I value CERT. And especially with the COVID-19, I'm just going to run down a list of what I know you guys have done, but it's much more than that. Continuous EOC call taker support. I've met many of you in the EOC as our call takers. Kudos, because I know that's a very difficult job, and especially now. I think the last couple of days, our call volume has been over 1,000. Warehouse operations at the County Donations Warehouse and Food Bank. And I know in the early days of the pandemic, that was so important, especially to our vulnerable populations. And with the surge coming back, that's even now more important. Food giveaway support to county agencies, especially in Annapolis City, and church nonprofit organizations, food drives. I know you guys provide traffic support, you've helped the food bank as volunteers, and that really has been instrumental for both Anne Arundel County and the City of Annapolis Office of Emergency Management. And serving as ambassadors for Annapolis City weekend outdoor events. And I know how difficult that has been. I know sometimes there have been residents who have not been happy being told to please wear a mask or to please follow the guidelines. And it's for people like you that have really brought about what we need to do to keep people safe. I want to give a shout out to the CERT coordinator, Joe Dorfner, who serves as the operations coordinator for the organization. I can't tell you how many times Jim Krempel or myself have called Joe and said, we need XYZ. And as always, we will try our best. We will do our best. And you guys always put 100%, especially with the call takers. Special shout out to Joe and Rosie because they have always served as emergency call takers, probably because they live 5 minutes from the EOC. But we really appreciate all the effort he has put into organizing the various volunteer needs we have. And I want to tell you too that the county and the City of Annapolis thanks you. They recognize you, especially when talking with county leadership. Whenever there's a need of volunteer, they say, hey, CERT, they can do that, right? Which may not be great for you because there's 10 different events they want you at. But really, that's the recognition that you guys get for doing such a great job, for always being present, and for helping us. So on behalf of the Office of Emergency Management, Anne Arundel County, and I'm going to throw in the City of Annapolis as well, and the County Executive Stuart Pittman, I offer really sincere appreciation for all the truly outstanding work that CERT has done. And you guys really exemplified the whole community approach. You've been recognized not only by MEMA, but our leadership, and I wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you very much, Preeti. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. I know you've got an unbelievable schedule, not just during the day, but also in the evening as well. It's kind of tough to be OEM director during an emergency and a disaster. So thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Jim, is there anything else that you'd like to add as our coordinating point with Office of Emergency Management?
So the one thing that struck me and actually struck Marilyn Voad and MEMA for that matter is the fact that on top of everything Preeti's talked about, 5,000 plus hours, you'll hear in a little bit, you've also managed to run 3 CERT basic courses. And from those courses, we've actually got a lot of volunteers who have put in for the background check and are now working for the county. That's absolutely extraordinary. As far as I know, in fact, MEMA mentioned to me, as far as they know, you're the only CERT organization in the state that's actually growing during the pandemic. So another incredible kudo for you. What a great bunch of people. We are blessed to have you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Truly appreciate it. So this is a great way to start our annual meeting. I'm going to try and share my screen and see if this actually works. Hopefully you're seeing oh wait, not yet. So hopefully you're seeing a presentation now that says 2020 annual meeting. Okay, I've got a thumbs up. I appreciate thumbs up. I'm going to try and talk loudly. I understand that there's a compressor running at Libations, which is making it hard for them to hear. So I'm going to do my best to project as much as possible. And I'm going to try and change slides too. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do this evening as part of our annual meeting is we've already have remarks from OEM, and we appreciate them participating and coming and joining us tonight. I've got some brief opening remarks. We're going to give a little bit about 2020, the year in review. This has been an unusual, extraordinary year, and certainly worth talking about what we've gone through. But the real focus for this evening is to give you our strategic vision for 2021. As you know, some of it's going to be more of the same. Unfortunately, this pandemic's not over yet, and in fact is worsening. So we can expect more of what we've been doing, but also to give you an idea, because we have your executive team here is looking forward and looking at ways that we can continue to grow even during this pandemic, not just in members, but in the capabilities that we have. So we'll be looking forward to talking about that. At our annual meeting, we always have an election of officers. At least 2 or 3 of the officers come due. We have 2-year terms that are staggered. So we'll be looking at vice president, treasurer, and CERT coordinator this evening. And then a little bit of an open discussion for anyone who would like to bring up additional topics. So let's start with just a few opening remarks. I have to start with thank yous also. Really, the first person I have to thank is Rosie Dorfner, because you know, this is the unsung hero who puts these type of events together, and it's a lot of logistics, it's a lot of headaches, it's a lot of work. And Rosie, I want to tell you, we truly appreciate what you do to make this event happy. I know it would have been great if we would have had a large number of people in person, but for reasons beyond our control, we couldn't do that. But we appreciate what you did in setting up Libations and setting up with Brandon Gosnell, our connection to Libations tonight. And I have to share Preeti's thanks to Joe Dorfner, who has for now, since March, what is that, 8 months now, has coordinated all of the efforts that we have done across the county, the city, and even beyond. We've even helped outside of the county when we've been asked to do so. And Joe is always there. I can always reach him. So can Offices of Emergency Management. He's always on top of every requirement. And we have, and he has truly enhanced our reputation as a leading organization supporting county government, city government during this pandemic. So thank you, Joe. This is a warm, heartfelt thanks from me and from the organization itself. And then finally, I have to thank all of you because I know Joe's going to go into this in more detail, but we're talking about over 5,400 hours of volunteering by just coincidentally 54 members of AAA CERT. Now that's 54, we only have 86, and that's 54 members who have supported in some way. many with multi-hundreds of hours of volunteering. I'm not going to steal Joe's thunder. I'll let him talk about it. But I couldn't be more proud of this organization. And I want to let you know that, excuse me, I broadcast our numbers, I broadcast our accomplishments in countywide, citywide, and any other type meetings that I participate in. And in many cases, I don't even have to because the people already know. So it's really quite exciting to be part of this organization, even though this is a very difficult and in some ways a very tragic time for us in the city and in the county. So let me see, did I say everything? Yeah, no, I didn't say everything yet. Okay, so as I said, we're not done. Unfortunately, this pandemic is still here. The numbers are climbing. The challenges are becoming more difficult. The natives are getting restless. There's real challenges ahead as we move forward. I want to emphasize to everyone, we have an absolute critical need for call takers at the Office of Emergency Management. They are challenged by not having enough people. Pretty mentioned, we're talking about 1,000 calls a day. That's an extraordinary number of calls to respond to. And we have trained 44 of our members. We really need you to step up. I understand most of you can't step up during the week, but we do have Saturday hours. If you can step up for Saturday hours or even half a shift, it's truly appreciated. Please coordinate with Joe. Joe coordinates all the activities. Please coordinate him. Let him know that your availability. This is a very important function for our community. We are a pre-filter for the health department. We typically answer about 40% of all the calls so that the health department doesn't have to answer those. You've been trained as a call taker. There are people on site to help you along the way, and it is a very safe environment. While I'm not at Libations tonight, I'm at the EOC. I'm very comfortable being there. It is everybody is taken, is taken care of there. It's a very clean environment. There's nothing to worry about. So please volunteer that. We also have a continuing need for help with the food distributions. We're doing very well at Brooklyn Park. I know the other two are during the week, during the day, but if you can help in Annapolis, if you can help at Rockbridge Elementary in Laurel, it's truly appreciated. The need is extraordinary. And unfortunately, it's going to get worse. And the weather's getting colder. And so there are greater challenges as we move forward. So if you can help with that, that would be great. And we, of course, have a continuing need for safety ambassadors in the city of Annapolis. Again, people are getting restless and they're being careless. And unfortunately, that's adding to the increase in the pandemic. So having CERT members out on the street, reminding people to wear masks, to be socially distant, and by the way, responding when there are issues. We have med kits. We have had first aid situations that we needed to respond to, and CERT members are there. And trust me, that's recognized also. We're there before the police. We're there before county officials. We are on the streets. We are helping people when they need help. So please continue to do that. And also, like I said, we're looking for an exciting year of growth. So it's not just a tremendous amount of volunteering work. It's going to be an exciting year of learning and growing and getting new capabilities and being part of what I consider probably the best organization in the county, if not the state, for supporting during this pandemic. So anyway, those are my opening remarks. We're going to move, whoops, sorry. We're now going to talk about the year in review. And I'm going to turn the mic over, if there is such a thing, to Joe Dorfner, who's going to talk a little bit about our operational response during 2020. Joe, can you take it over?
So far this year, the Anne Arundel Community Emergency Response Team has put in 5,533 hours as of last night, end of day. This is not what we thought 2020 was going to be. We thought we were going to have a normal year. Starting in March, things definitely went crazy. During this event, we have had 57 members who have been active during COVID-19. Of those, 36 members have earned their 20 hours or more during COVID stuff. And we have 15 members who have put in over 100 hours related to COVID. So far, we have done 59 food drives.
Everybody could turn the
Along with
volume
being
down.
call takers, we've also this year added on being call taker supervisors so that OEM can have some time off instead of them being in 6 days a week. I think at this point I can turn
I
it back
just
over to you.
turned off my mic.
Okay, so we're going to move on and talk about training accomplishments. Paul, do you want to talk about training?
All right, so in 2020, we had our 10 monthly training sessions, all of which have been virtual since March. We've had topics which included ham radio, medical emergencies, hygiene and sanitation. We've had coverage on hazmat stuff, such as the emergency response guide. And we had 2 sessions for hazmat for the CERT members. So we've had an average of 25 members log in per each session that we've had, which is actually pretty good. I remember when we first started, we were lucky to get 6 people at a monthly training, and we held them in a small conference room in the library, either at South County or at Severna Park. Back in February, unfortunately, I didn't get to attend this, but we had a really good presentation by Arlene on Contagion, which she showed the movie and stopped and discussed the movie as we went along. And that was kind of a preparatory for what was to come. If you haven't seen Contagion, I would highly recommend it. So all in all, we've put in a lot of hours in training this year, and I'll discuss next year when we get to it. But I think we've given all the obstacles that we've had in terms of not being able to do in-person training and lack of locations and things. I think we've done pretty darn good. Bruce?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Paul. I'll just continue on with this. And this was mentioned by Jim, but first of all, we have to recognize that the Office of Emergency Management and the fire department are terrific partners for us in helping us to create in-person basic CERT classes. To my knowledge, we're the only CERT organization in the National Capital Region that did an entire basic CERT class in person. We were very careful. We reduced the size of our classes, but the feedback was very positive by those who we trained. And I'm pleased to say, out of the 3 classes, we trained 28 community members, and 12 of them are now AAA CERT members and actively supporting us. So we're very pleased with the result of that training that we did. We also helped 2 train the trainer classes. We trained 23 community members. Some were AAA CERT, some were from Adventist Community Services, which is the emergency response portion of the Seventh-day Adventists. We also trained the Calvert County Emergency Management Specialist so that they could continue training. The Adventist Community Services people are all Spanish speakers, and we're hoping to harness that capability, maybe not in 2021 because of COVID, but possibly in a later year, to be able to teach a class in basic CERT entirely in Spanish. And we'll talk a little bit about membership. Even though our numbers decreased from 2019 to 2020, what we have is greater compliance, greater volunteerism. We now have 71% of our members are now fully operational, satisfied every requirement that we've established for operational capability. Our Nims compliance is now up to 76%. That means that 76% of our members have taken 100, 200, 700, and 800. And our participation requirements, that's the people who actually have met those requirements, has increased to 60%. And we're not done yet. So it's likely going to be much higher than that. We even have members who are what I call in the hole, meaning they hadn't satisfied requirements from last year. They've gone past that. They now have positive hours, and some of them have satisfied participation requirements. You know, we have these participation requirements because the whole purpose of membership in AAA CERT is to volunteer, is to be active, is to be doing things. And that's why we're very anxious to get those numbers up and to get the kind of members who are willing to support the community. And while Joe mentioned 5,500 hours, that's the number of hours associated with the active response to COVID-19. My calculations are we've done well over 7,000 hours of participation and volunteering, which includes a lot of the training that our folks have taken, and other activities we've performed in. I was very excited that we were invited to the Fire Training Academy to help with the graduation of the latest class of firefighters. We assisted with parking and organization of their parking lot as they held a COVID type graduation, and they were very, very appreciative of our support for that. And by the way, that 7,000 hours doesn't include what I do, what Paul does, what Rick and Joe and Randy do from an administrative standpoint. Those are not included. Okay, so now we're going to move on to 2021, because the focus is not looking back, but the focus is looking forward. So we're going to go through all of our different operational entities and talk about where we see AAA CERT moving in the next year. Our strategic view for organizational is to formalize more of our relationships with partner agencies and nonprofits. So many of you are aware of this, but for those who are not, we have spent the last several years, your management team has spent the last several years creating relationships. Because as a wise person always told me, the time to give out your business card is not during a disaster. You build relationships beforehand, and that's what we've been doing. We have met with every county agency, every city agency, and we've met with, and I should add, state agencies and the large volunteer nonprofits that respond during a disaster. We've met with all of them. All of them know who AAA CERT is and know what we do. We've also met with a lot of partner agencies, including agencies like American Red Cross, the Lions Club, and other nonprofit organizations that respond in the event of disasters. All of that is done to build relationships. I should have added Department of Natural Resources, where we're looking at opportunities for search and rescue. All of that is setting the stage for increasing our influence in disaster response and protection of the county. And we're looking also not just to informally address relationships, but also to formally do that. We already have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the county. We have one that's being drafted for the city of Annapolis, and we'll be looking at doing that with some of the larger nonprofit agencies as well, to formalize our relationship and talk about how we're going to work cooperatively in the event of a disaster. Right now, we're totally consumed by COVID-19, but for those of you who attended the other trainings, we have to worry about the hurricane. We have to worry about the flood-demic. We have to worry about the snow-demic. All those are possibilities as we move forward, since the pandemic is not disappearing. And all of those require increased skill sets. Moving on to membership, we're taking a very strategic view on membership now. I used to recruit like crazy, trying to get as many possible members and volunteers as I possibly could. And I found that that was not the most successful approach. So our approach now is to make sure that everybody that we bring into our fold is absolutely willing to volunteer. We need members who can actually engage, who can go out into the community and to support the initiatives that we're trying to do, during peacetime and during our current situation with the pandemics. And by the way, for those of you who are on the call that can't participate, we certainly recognize that everybody has limitations, whether they're work limitations, family limitations, or other types of limitations at this point, or health limitations. So that's not a slam against you. What we're trying to do, though, is encourage in our new membership those people who can actively go out and support us. And I'm very, very proud to say that many of our new members have immediately joined forces, given their information to Joe, and Joe's been able to count on them to support the needs that are presented to us. Okay, I'm going to take this one also. One of my goals for next year is to work in coordination with OEM to do more training, more presentations to community members, whether it's community associations or other groups that are interested in disaster preparedness and response. Potentially it's the schools, et cetera. This is not to do it instead of OEM. This is to do it in coordination and in partnership with OEM, and to also, of course, increase the awareness of AAA CERT and what we do, which hopefully will encourage more community members to take our basic CERT classes and to potentially join and volunteer with us. So I'll be looking for people to help me with this and to help support these initiatives as we move forward. Okay, Paul, do you want to take this one, training for our members?
Again, this year, we want to try to create a very robust and useful training that will just reinforce the skills that we already have and add new skills so that we are in a state of readiness. And we also need to maintain the interest of our current members and to help the organization grow by offering interesting training and useful training that can be used. Our training committee will be working on training. Some of the topics that we'll be looking at is when we will be holding a basic CERT. We generally, oh, I think I just lost, there we go. We generally hold 3 of those classes per year. Monthly training meetings, 1 a month and every month except for November, which is our annual meeting. We have specialized teams that we will be helping them organize and assist with their training. We would like to reach out and do some exercises, and this is not calisthenics. This is, yeah, leave me out of that one. But these are exercises that will help us to use and prepare to use our skills. And then there will be other offerings as they come down the road through the National Capital Region Community Emergency Response Team Coalition, which was recently formed. So that's it. And I think that we pretty much hit on the basic side. We'll continue to have small classes due to the COVID. If we are able to have larger classes back at the academy, we'll probably go back from the 10 to 12 that we have now to the 20 to 24 that we usually have. We have had in the past few years 2 classes a year at high schools, Glen Burnie High School and Fort Meade. We would like to be able to get into that next year.
And I can tell you, excuse me, Paul, I can tell you that both schools, assuming that classes resume in the spring, both schools are very anxious to do Teen CERT in the schools this year.
We call it Teen CERT, but it's actually the full CERT class. It's the standard one that we teach to adults. And for the instructor's class, we have no instructor class planned. We taught 2 this year, but if there's becomes a need and if people are interested in an instructor's class, we certainly could pursue that. And we talked about the training, topics aligned with basic CERT. Our monthly training will remain on the 3rd Wednesday of the month from 1900 to 2100, and the format will remain the same. And the training is all about our members. It's about our members. It's about after action reports. It's about what we really need. But if you have requests for training, please send an email to training@AAACERT.org. That will go to at least 2 or 3 people. It goes to Bruce, it goes to me, and I'm not sure who else it goes to. But we will see that and talk about it when we're planning training. And if you have topics right now that you would like, shoot them over. Even if it's a completely undeveloped topic, and I'd like to see, something about how to treat animals in disasters or whatever. We have people that can do that, and we can find an expert to teach almost any topic. So we have 5 specialized teams: our Emergency Operations Center team, our First Aid team, Search and Rescue, Sheltering, and Traffic. So those will be, somebody's got their volume up. Got feedback. So we'll be working with those teams to develop training. And we will be working with each of the team leads to develop their training. So, but the team leads understand that the training committee is not responsible for deciding what the training should be. That's up to the team leads. So they'll be putting feedback into the training committee for training, and we will just assist them with that training.
Okay.
So some other things that we definitely will have on our outlook as First Aid, CPR, and AED. We'll probably look at sometime in January to have that. It'll probably be a combination of online training and in-person training. We'll have to do the skills testing, obviously, in person. We may have to break that down into several sessions to do the skills testing, but the online, we are still going to bring it to the organization at cost. There will be some cost. I'm not sure what it will be, but we will get that. And again, this pretty much goes to the next 4: call taker, traffic, parade marshals, and SARTEC. Those go to our specialized teams, but that's stuff that we generally have every year. We had a Sebring class up from TEACS. They are chomping at the bit to get that class taught again. I'm in contact with them both from a standpoint of Hospital Region 5 as well as CERT. Our Stop the Bleed and Narcan classes have been well attended, and we anticipate continuing those next year because both of those are kind of skill classes that we need to do in person.
May I jump in a second, Paul?
Yes.
Talking about CBRNE classes, those are the last local emergency planning committee. We now have the commander of the Maryland National Guard unit that provides weapons of mass destruction. CBRNE response is now part of the LEPC and would be interested in helping train CERT. Outstanding.
Yeah, the TEACS has a 2-day class that they come up and do. And we've done it, I think, twice. I've sponsored it, I think, 4 times total. But if we have someone local, that's even better because we could even do some monthly training with that. I think that's great. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. So we have no exercises actually planned. The exercise will, again, depend a lot on COVID because we need to get together for planning sessions. We need to get together for the actual events. But some of the ideas that we've looked at is mass casualty, search and rescue, vaccine, but that will be with the Anne Arundel Health Department. Like we've done a couple of times in the past, they've had the drive-through flu vaccine, which was actually kind of like a training exercise for other vaccines. And if you have ideas for other things that you would like to do in terms of an exercise, again, please email us because, we try to program the training to the benefit of the members.
So, so we don't have a lot in terms of exercises. What we have instead is the real thing. When you think about it, everything we're doing is exercising our capabilities to support the community and to support local government. So I don't feel too bad. We normally participate in a large number of exercises that are run by the county or the city or by various organizations, and they have all been canceled or they're being handled internally to those organizations. For example, there's normally a very large Navy and hospital exercise that's done in February, and instead that's going to be handled entirely by the Navy on their property for obvious reasons of making sure that it's safe for all participating. But when exercises resume, we'll certainly be a part of them, sometimes as volunteer victims, other times as actual participants representing who we are as AAA CERT. So more to come. Okay, in terms of operations, I'm going to turn this over to Joe to talk about his view for moving forward with operations. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Bruce. One of the things we want to do is definitely look at facilitating the creation of our function groups, get them more up to speed for what they can do, get them more training and all. We want to work with training to develop a program of training and exercises that will enhance the members' operational response. Work with the executive committee to develop a plan for rapid expansion in response to a large-scale disaster, sort of like what we're going through now. Basically, we're still going to keep doing the work that we've been doing. I can imagine that we'll be supporting the food drives and the city and the county for probably the next year with COVID. Other than that, I think that's basically it. Bruce, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, very good. Development, we're going to go back to Paul.
For organizational or for development basically is our fundraising side of the house. And, you know, we need to develop a plan for raising money. And we can do that through grants, fundraising opportunities, other revenue sources such as donations. And we're looking at the new website to be able to deposit a lot of information there that so other people can help us, information on grants, information on deadlines, kind of like a planning calendar for grants and things like that. So this year has hit us and every other 501c3 volunteer organization pretty hard with the grants because of COVID-19. There's many fewer grants than we've had in the past. BG&E, we've gotten grants from them for, I think, for at least the past 3, if not the past 4 years. But in 2021, all of the grants are suspended. Last year, we got a $4,000 grant. The year before, we got a $3,000 grant. The year before that, I don't remember. Then we got a $9,000 grant the first year that we were there. So it's that's a good portion of our grant funds there. Firehouse Subs, from reading their website, it appears that they're going to be very specific in the type of grants that they get. And Wawa Foundation, we have to submit a letter to them, which has been submitted, a letter of interest, and then they actually invite you to apply to a grant. And then there's other grant opportunities that we're looking at and other organizations. Fundraising, we need ideas. You know, we're in uncharted waters here in terms of fundraising with not being able to go out and do things with like setting up at a Home Depot or something like that. Or, you know, we've worked with the Renaissance Festival for the past few years, and that'll raise a few hundred to a few $1,000s. So some of the ideas that we were talking about was community preparedness events, which Bruce mentioned, talking to the businesses that we've supported, although they're hurting as well. And I don't really expect that we would get a lot of money, but some is better than none. And we have a thing called sponsors, individual sponsors and business sponsors that we created many years ago that we actually never really explored. So we're going to try to promote that a little more this year too.
So, what I'd like to mention is if you're the type of person who doesn't mind going up to a store, to a corporation, to a company, whatever, and explain who we are and solicit the possibility of a sponsorship or funding from them, please step up, talk to Paul, talk to me, and we'd be very interested in your support.
So, the funds that I didn't really mention the things that we were, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So the general funding needs for this year, the bare minimum, and this is without buying any extraneous stuff at all. Basically, our operations cost is insurance is about $1,700. Our D4H, which is a database that we use, that price hasn't increased in the 5 years that we've been using it, and it's extremely useful. Website, I doubt that it will cost us $300, but I budgeted $300 for it, and various and sundry fees that we have to pay to maintain a 501c3 status, or fees to Department of Taxation. I estimate around $200. Our basic CERT classes cost us about $65, $67 each, and we're losing about $5 to $7 on each person that we train. And then equipment maintenance. This is primarily to replace batteries in our radios or to fix stuff that breaks. And based on previous years, I think we probably can get by with about $200. Our income, we have about $2,000 of committed donations. We will receive about $2,160 from training if we train 36 people. And that the expense on the training was based on 36 people as well. You see that we're losing just a little bit of money on training. And that would give us about $4,160 of total income. So we have a deficit of $995. That's just based on our overhead alone without adding anything else. Now, fortunately, a few years ago, the board decided to start a rainy day fund. We have money to cover this out of our rainy day fund. I would rather not. I would like to see additional donations and fundraising to at least cover the $995. This is just for basic stuff that we have to have. We cannot do without this stuff. And one of our primary missions is training. So that's why I put that in and left out some of the other things. So the other things that we would like to acquire, and I think I'm not going to say too much about it, but we have an opportunity to be on a radio system. We'll need to buy radios. That could cost us anywhere from $75,000 to $125,000. Our medical first aid team, we are looking probably at setting up, if we set that up properly, we're looking between $5,000 and $7,000 for that. So we have a great need for money this year, and we need to just to prioritize. If we had the money, I would put those on there, but I just think this is going to be a lean year for us.
Now, if we do extremely well with fundraising, then potentially we could get something like this.
Actually, we'll get a fleet of them.
A fleet of them, yeah.
Yeah, talk to Herb Hassenpush about that one.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So I don't know which CERT organization has this, but it's pretty impressive. Don't hold your breath, folks. Okay.
Hey, some of the guys in California have really nice equipment.
Yeah, it probably is there. Okay, we've made a couple of changes organizationally, and I'm very pleased. One of our newer members, Chris Meid, is our new logistics person, and we're kind of excited to have him in a very, he's been very proactive and has done a great job. So Chris if you could talk about what your view is for logistics moving forward, that would be great.
Sure. Thanks, Bruce. So just introduce myself. Like I said, I'm Chris, and I joined back in August basic CERT class. So happy to, get to meet a lot of you so far and meeting new people tonight. So it's been great. So yeah, so for logistics, it's been just getting in and getting started. As Bruce, as you can see on the screen there, we really want to take, a good inventory and accountability for all our equipment, and then start setting some good routines in place in terms of maintenance and stock levels of certain supplies. So as many of you guys know, we have the trailer over at the Fire Academy. So we've been working to go through that, kind of reorganize, take inventory, see what new supplies need to be needed, kind of recycle or discard some older supplies that are outdated now. So we'll continue to kind of work through that. And then the big thing too is working just on simplifying the purchasing process. So we've been working on that as well. And partnering with the different teams. So getting the radios, getting stuff for operations, buying equipment for search and rescue. So that's kind of what we're going to keep focusing on here and get these, procedures kind of in place and get going. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. This is, I'm very excited because I'm, the engineering in me just loves operational efficiency. And that's what we're getting with Chris's contributions here. So very excited to have him on board and supporting us from a logistics standpoint. Next we've kind of broken out radio communications from other communications, and Randy Sanger is supporting us moving forward strategically. Randy, you're there, right? There you are. You can talk about this briefly.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, everyone. One of our goals for the communication strategies for this year, primarily we're looking to clarify communication goals in interoperability and our internal capability, learning to merge them with our operations plans to kind of get a material list, if you will, of where we want to go, what we want to get to apply that to a lot of the grants we may want to apply for in the future. Along with that, we're looking to establish requirements for training in regard to communications, logistics in regard to communications, along with accountability, development, fundraising, and grants for the communications, as well as membership, recruiting, and so forth, to make sure that we're recruiting more expertise in communications so that we can also meet our goals with the expertise. The other thing we're trying to do is establish formal memorandums of understanding with the county, with several agencies. We're talking to the police, we're talking to the fire department. We're also talking to Public Works and some other different radio frequency groups. So working on getting permissions to use various frequencies on the network, as well as the ones that we're getting permission to use. So we're looking to clarify all of that this year and move forward with a lot of that.
Thank you very much, Randy. I'll summarize what Randy said by saying taking it to the next step. And I'm very excited about that because communications is key to, again, efficient operations. So so appreciate Randy's efforts and the others that are supporting him in terms of radio communications. And I do want to mention to everybody, if you're on the call and you're not part of a committee and you'd like to be, please, these are our lead people in all these committees. Give them a holler and say, gee, I'd like to help with this strategic vision moving forward. What can I do to help? Moving on is another organizational change is developing this IT Communications Public Affairs Committee led by Brandon Gosnell. Brandon, happy to have you on board. Can you talk a little bit about what you're looking to do?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
First, I'll say, Paul, your your website is covered for the next 3 years, so you can zero that out, bud.
Okay, that includes the
everything. You're good. Yes. All right. So we have first revamped the website completely from the ground up, built new features into it that we're hoping to drive more traffic to CERT, us in general. and to direct more of that traffic to the donation page and to the join page. It is in the hands of the committee to edit and finalize, hopefully to deploy by the end of the year. We've also created a new document repository site, which is also up and running and in the hands of, now it's in yours, Bruce,
Yes,
to populate it with all of our documents. It is the main portal where you will go to get anything that you need, from the photos and videos that we take to any document that you need. You'll have your own private login to the document portal, which we hope to have go live by the end of the year as well. We're also revamping the Facebook page. We're looking to do probably two. One is kind of what you see now for the public, and we're thinking of doing one that's just for us, kind of like a private group chat where you have to be a member. You can't see the communication, it's just between us. So kind of an easier way, since everybody's on Facebook, I think, except for me. So we're hoping to have that go by the middle to end of the first quarter. We're also going to spin up a LinkedIn page for nonprofits. There's a lot of traffic that comes from LinkedIn to nonprofits, so I want to tap into that. The goal is to have that ready by the end of the first quarter as well. And then just more photos and videos of everything that we do. The more that we can get out and start pumping out into the public space, the more people see us, become interested, want to join, or just as importantly, want to give us some money. Yes, I was getting there. Give us some money. And that's really what we're doing. So try to get out there, get our name out there, spread. One of the things that we want to do, was mentioned earlier, is Bruce, hold yourself, a storefront on our web page, but it's not a purchase storefront. It's just, hey, I'd like to have a CERT hat or a CERT shirt, everything that we sell, but it's just a feedback to like logistics to say, hey, this person is interested in a shirt and we can have a markup or things like that. I pulled that off of LA and a few others, reaching out to them, and they say, yeah, we make a lot of money on these. We don't sell the official certs, but they have spin-off logos and information like that I would love to talk to you guys about. That's pretty much it, as Joe looks like he's going to have a heart attack from what I just said. It's okay, buddy. You'll be all right.
Thank you,
all right.
Brandon. I
right.
appreciate that very much. And again, what you can see is going to the next step. And I want to talk about the document repository a little bit, because this is a big deal to me. And yes, it is in my ballpark right now. But one of the challenges with an organization like ours is getting access to information. So if you're helping with the development committee and helping with grants, you're trying to help with promotion, and you need some pictures, you're trying to promote on for example, on social media. If you need our corporate documents or something like that, all of that now is going to be available to all of our members. I should say by the end of the year. And if you take pictures, if you go somewhere, you go to an event and there are CERT members there and they're wearing their CERT gear, you can take pictures. You're going to be able to load them up, and we'll put them in a public area where anybody can get to those photos and use them for promotional purposes. So again, another step up, and truly appreciate what Brandon's doing and others who are supporting him, again, moving forward. So I hope you've gotten a really good picture. We've come a long way, baby, if you remember that commercial, from where we were in 2015. And we're even going to take a leap forward when we get to 2021. We've taken a great leap in terms of our reputation within the county. And in 2021, we're going to continue that and also improve our operational efficiency and make us a first-class organization. So very excited about where we're moving in 2021. So moving along, we do have a business part of this meeting, and that is the election of officers. I'm going to have Rick Cooper run this as the secretary of the organization. But before he starts, I just want to mention that based on our bylaws, We have 5 officers, a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and CERT coordinator. And they are elected in staggered years. President and secretary were elected last year for 2-year terms. This year, we will be electing vice president, treasurer, and CERT coordinator for another 2 years. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rick.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Maybe even see me. All right, well, Bruce already said what positions were up for election this year, but I'll repeat it from my my notes. Vice President, Treasurer, Coordinator. And the board has nominated, I guess, the incumbents for those positions: Randy for Vice President, Paul for Treasurer, and Joe to continue as Coordinator. So at this point, I want to open the floor to nominations, or open this meeting to nominations from the floor. Anybody want to throw their name into the hat? I'm not hearing anything. Bruce, I have to lean on you to look for anything online as far as any responses, because we have limited visibility here.
Since I can't find chat, you have to actually vocalize it. I don't know what happened to chat. It disappeared on me. So if you're interested in running for these offices, please unmute yourself and indicate that you would like to run. Okay, I'm not hearing anything, Rick. Do you want to move forward?
Okay, that sounds good. So I guess we'll start with opening the floor to any discussion. If there is any discussion needed, does anybody need any more information about our slate, about these positions before we move forward? Not hearing anything. Since we have 3 people that are already in the position, willing to stay in those positions, I think at this point I would seek a motion to proceed with a vote for all 3 at one time. All right, we've got one motion and a second. So this will be the tricky part, Bruce. We can certainly see what's going on in this room, but we've had a motion made and seconded, and I guess at this point we're just looking for agreement. Everybody in favor?
So the easy way to do a vote when you have a lot of people, although people can do thumbs up, which is what they're doing that I can see. But is anyone opposed to this slate? Are you brave enough to stand up and say?
That would probably be the easiest way to go about it, yeah.
Is there anyone opposed to us moving forward?
Okay, yeah, Matt put it up here too.
Okay, hearing none, we'll consider this a unanimous approval for these 3 officers for the coming year.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome aboard for 2 more years, guys.
2 more years. Okay, so the final part of our agenda for the evening is pretty much an open discussion. We don't have any old business coming into this meeting unless somebody is aware of some that I'm not aware of. And we would also entertain any new business that anyone wants to bring up, or anything that anyone wants to bring up for the good of the order.
Hey, Bruce, I do.
No, go ahead. You want to sell stuff on the web, I know.
I just want to say to everybody here, everybody that's on the call, if you do not know about smile.amazon.com, does anybody in here not? No, nobody knows. So when you buy through Amazon, if you go to smile.amazon.com, it is a way that Amazon actually donates themselves based on the percentage of what you purchase to whomever you say you want to purchase it. So there's a lot of organizations out there, and we're on there. So when you buy something on Amazon, instead of going to amazon.com, if you go to smile.amazon.com, it's your same login. You don't even know, except for on the top left-hand corner, it'll show you who's going to receive your money. A very small percentage, but it adds up a percentage of your purchase every time. Amazon will donate that to the organization. Last year, through me and my business's organization, we had $47. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a 0.1% of your purchase. It costs you nothing. So if you go on there, go on our website, you'll see a link to do it. Again, costs you nothing, and it's your same Amazon account. That's all.
Thank you. Really appreciate that very much. Yes, I am connected to smile.amazon.com. So is Paul. And I hope quite a number of other of you. If you do a lot of shopping at Amazon, you'd be surprised, even though it's not even a point, it's 0.05%. It's a very small amount, but if we have 80 some members who spend a lot of money on Amazon, I know I'm starting to, it adds up and it's very helpful. We have a lot of administrative expenses that cannot be reimbursed through grants. We can buy stuff through grants, but very seldom can we pay for insurance or other types of things through grants.
Bruce, Levon, one of the things that I was thinking about when they were talking about fundraising is there some information that maybe I would be happy to put together a brochure that maybe we could use for fundraising? Like, going into a business is all great and dandy, but a lot of businesses want to see things. And if we could put together a simple pamphlet so that CERT members can, carry a couple of those with them and then go in and take those with them and just see what they can do.
We have one. It's horrible.
So,
We should redo it.
Well, then I can happily redo it, but I would just need the information and the stuff that's coming from the digital database, I guess, to do that. So, okay, question answered.
Thank you, Levon. That's a great idea. We do have a brochure. It is, I'll call it fair. It certainly could be better and improved. We do have a flyer that we've handed out. Again, I'm sure that it could be improved as well. So any of you who are artistic, I'm not, any of you who are artistic and can contribute to making really good promotional materials, if you'd coordinate with Brandon, who is our PIO, I'd appreciate that very much. He doesn't need more tasks to do. He's doing a tremendous amount of work. So if you can support him by helping him create promotional materials, I'm sure he'll be happy to improve it technically, but he needs people to do the bulk of the work. So that would be great as well. These are great. Anybody else have something to add?
Bruce, you got one question in the chat.
I can't find the chat. Tell me what the question is.
Hold on one sec.
Actually,
Any idea on when the SARTech 2 classes will be resuming? They got put on hold earlier this year, but I understand that they have started back up, but not everyone who signed up got to take it this round.
Okay, so you're search and rescue, and I think Randy's there also. Can you guys answer it?
I know that right now they're, I should say DNR is having a STM, which is a SARTech Maryland certification class starting in January, but that is not through NASAR. That is only for DNR personnel. I have not heard yet when they're starting a SARTech level 2 class up yet. As soon as I do, I will let everyone know that it is available and find out how many slots we have.
Okay,
Right now, nothing is scheduled.
Sorry, I can add to that a little bit, not related to SARTech, but Donna Seymour, who is a member of ours and is part of Department of Natural Resources, Police Reserves, has just gotten certified in wilderness search and rescue. And she is, certified as an instructor in wilderness search and rescue. Now, COVID is probably going to sideline this for a while, but she's very anxious to put on a class for us. So hopefully that's something that we can offer sometime in 2021 as well. But that'll all be coordinated through the search and rescue functional group with Randy Benninghove in coordination with Joe.
The other aspect with that is to take the SARTech level 2 class, you have to have already taken the wilderness first aid class.
Oh, that's right. That's a new change, isn't it?
Yes. For those of us who are already SARTech 2s, we have to have wilderness first aid done by the time we come up for renewal.
Anything else from anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I hope you found it worthwhile.
Hey, we're not done yet.
Oh, what do we got left?
All right, first of all, I'm going to present these. from Board of Directors of CERT to 2 people. One person, these are not the actual certificates, just the code group. So Representative Joe, our CERT coordinator from the Board of Directors and 13, as the award for what we've done during COVID. We want to recognize, thank you for doing such a great job. We also have the same thing for Bruce. We'll save this for you, Bruce. Dedicated. Just to thank you, we recognize all the work that you've done, we recognize all the hours that you put in, those of you who put in countless hours. Can't thank you enough, but we want to try. One more thing.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it must have been good because everybody.
And this is regards to COVID response. I want to present you with the first challenge coin for COVID response. Thank you. All right, back to Bruce. Well done.
To the microphone and tell us what just happened.
I was just presented the first challenge coin for the COVID response. Now this time I'm going to present the others to those who have been helping since this all started that are present here at the meeting. Those who are not here, they haven't seen it. So. Oh, they haven't seen it. Those who are not here will be getting them mailed to them.
Cool.
Okay, for those of you who are not following, these are specially prepared challenge coins that we are handing out to members who have supported us during COVID-19 and have volunteered in support of the county and the city representing AAA CERT.
Well, they're doing this in 2 phases.
They will be mailed to others who have supported. Okay. Did Libations disappear?
They were here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, Paul, where are we for everybody else?
I think we're good. That was the
Good?
only presentation we had.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So we'll go back to thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. Those in person at Libations, as well as those of you who are online. I hope you found this useful and interesting. I hope you are as proud as I am of the organization that we have created and that we are members of, and of our contribution to the community. I'll emphasize to you again, I hear it over and over again. The police are so happy to see us. The fire department is so happy to see us. The Department of Health. We are partners. We are not just this nonprofit group doing stuff. We are partners with all of these organizations. So, very excited moving forward. So everybody be safe, be well. Please, everybody you should know we have plenty of PPE. We want to protect all of our members. If you have a need for PPE, please coordinate with Joe, at least right now. We will figure out a way to get it to you. We want everybody to be safe. Okay? So take care, everybody, and have a good Bye-bye now.